All right. We're ready for opening statements. Madam DA,
Yes, Your Honor.
jury is with you.
Thank you so much. On the night of September 16th, 2022, Devin Clark and Lyric Woods made plans to meet up. Lyric was going to sneak out of the house. 14, it was definitely sneaking. Devin was 18, so his rules were a little bit different. Legally an adult, he could come and go as he pleased. But of course, he was living under his father's roof, and so dad's rules apply. But they were going to meet up and hang out for a bit, like teenagers do. Lyric's mother will tell you that Lyric came in the living room, said goodnight to them around 11 p.m. on the 16th, said she was going to go take a shower, and that was the last time she saw her daughter alive. The next morning, she woke up, Saturday morning, the 17th. She and her younger daughter were going to wake Lyric up so that they could decorate the house for fall. And when Lyric's younger sister went to her room, she wasn't there. At that point, Elizabeth, very worried, went to go check for herself. Not there. Couldn't find her anywhere in the house. Called her father, said, "Is she with you?" No. And so at that point, Lyric's family filed a missing persons report. And that was Saturday morning, September 17th. Now, like I mentioned, Devin was 18 years old. His father will tell you it was not unusual for him to leave the house on Friday night and perhaps spend an entire weekend with some of his friends, crashing at one of their places. So when he called him on Saturday, it didn't get a response. That wasn't necessarily unusual, but what was unusual was that the calls went straight to voicemail. And he tried again, and it went straight to voicemail. And he was unable to reach Devin at all on that Saturday. Now, Lyric's family was in the midst of working with law enforcement to take any steps they could to try to locate her. Saturday night turned into Sunday morning, still nothing. And at that time, Devin's father began to get very worried because he had still been unable to reach Devin. On Sunday about midday, Devin's father filed a missing persons report. At this point, it was beyond what he would normally expect from his son. What both families couldn't have known, and what nobody knew at that time, was that Lyric and Devin were already dead. On Sunday afternoon, around 3 p.m., two folks who were riding four-wheelers, going to check deer cameras in an area off of an access road near Buckhorn Road in Ethland, located two bodies, and they called 911. When investigators arrived on scene, they located the bodies of Lyric Woods and Devin Clark. They had been shot multiple times. Investigators also observed that it appeared that the bodies had been there for a little while before they were discovered. The investigation revealed that they were killed approximately 2 a.m. on Saturday, September 17th. So just a few hours after their parents said goodnight to them. And approximately 36 hours prior to the discovery of their bodies. On the following Monday, September 19th, an individual contacted the Orange County Sheriff's Office, said that he had information about this case. And speaking with that individual, this is the first time investigators heard the name Issiah Ross, the defendant. I expect that you'll hear from that witness, and he will tell you that the defendant confessed to killing Devin Clark and Lyric Woods, and that the timing of his confession was before their bodies were discovered. You'll hear from a cell site and location data analysis expert who will explain when the victims and the defendant came to be together in the early morning hours of September 17th. You'll hear from a DNA expert who will tell you that Lyric's blood was on the exterior of the defendant's mother's vehicle, a vehicle that he is on surveillance video driving in those very same early morning hours of September 17th. You'll hear that 12 shell casings were recovered from the crime scene, located in 3 distinct groups: a forensic firearms examination expert, will tell you that all 12 of those casings were fired from the same firearm. You'll hear from the medical examiner. You'll hear that Devin was shot 6 times, that Lyric was shot 7 times, that they both were shot in the back, that Devin had a shot to the back of his head, and that Lyric was shot twice in the neck at close range. You'll hear that the murder weapon and Devin's phone were never recovered. And finally, you'll hear that on the evening of Sunday, September 18th, after the bodies were found, the defendant left the state. He was arrested in Delaware on October 5th, 2022, 18 days after they were killed. Members of the jury, this is just a brief forecast of the evidence you're going to hear in this case. I ask you, as you listen to the testimony and review the evidence, that you keep these things in mind: the timeline, the physical evidence, and the defendant's confession. And when you've heard it all, when the truth is laid bare in front of you, I will ask you to hold the defendant accountable. I will ask you to find him guilty.